What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to my player ratings after Liverpool beat Derby County on penalties to book our passage safely through to the next round of the League Cup. It was a night that seen frustration at times, but if you look from a wider perspective, it was also a night that seen a lot of big teams knocked out. Spurs out, Arsenal out, West Ham out, Chelsea out. But thankfully for us, Liverpool have secured their passage through. Thanks to that gentleman on the screen there now, saving 3 from the 5 penalty kicks. Again, just shown, if in doubt, put an Irish person in there. We'll sort it out one way or the other. And I've got to give a big shout out to Kelleher today, because he's just a penalty hero, isn't he? You got to love it. The big question about him, though, will be what happens next in his career. It's a headache for down the line. But for tonight, let's start off by, as always, asking you guys to play along. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And look, it's going to be tough tonight because it wasn't a great performance, but we've got to measure that against not wanting to be harsh on a lot of those youngsters who are out there, some of them making their first competitive performance for Liverpool. So I will keep that in mind as we go along. But let's start off with this man here, Kelleher. He didn't put a foot wrong in the game. He very rarely ever does put a foot wrong. Done the little bits he had to do, but when it came to crunch time from the penalty spot, he was the hero yet again. So Kelleher will get a big dirty 9 and is my Anfield agenda man of the match. Massive shout out to Kelleher again, doing bits between the sticks. Calvin Ramsey, you know what? I thought he was good. Tonight, Calvin Ramsey. For somebody who was still obviously getting to grips with English football, with Jurgen Klopp's system, it was great to see him get the full game tonight, and I'm very optimistic about Calvin Ramsey's future and being able to challenge or rotate in for Trent Alexander-Arnold. So there'll be better performances ahead, I'm sure, but that was a solid performance for me for Calvin Ramsey today. So 7 for Mr. Ramsey, and I am very much sincerely looking forward to watching his career progress at Liverpool Football Club. Nat Phillips, the man who does what he does. Put the ball into the penalty area and he'll get ahead in it and clear it for you. He is an old school centre-back whose traits probably aren't the most useful to Liverpool in the way that we go about it, but he's as honest as the day is long. He puts his body on the line, and there's a lot to admire about Nat Phillips. So look, he didn't have all that much to do today. I'm going to give him a 6. It might be a little bit harsh, but he didn't have that much to do. So 6 for himself. Joe Gomez, I'm not happy. I can't lie. I'm not happy with Gomez. Yes, there was the pass back to Kelleher again that, made me nervous, but this time it worked out. But there were moments where he just lacked concentration, gave away a cheap corner, and while it came to nothing, on another day it might. And I always feel a little bit more nervous with Joe playing at centre back. There's no doubt that he has the tools and the ability to be a top-notch centre half, but he just needs to work and be more switched on for me, particularly in games like this where you might have a lot of defending to do. You're on top, but you've got to stay focused. And again, I'm going to give him a 6, but he's capable of so much more. Costas, I wasn't impressed. He was getting into the areas, but his crossing tonight was subpar. How many times did we see crosses put in the first half too high when we had small forwards on? Nothing pulled back to the edge of the penalty area either. And then when Darwin came on, all of a sudden we were playing waist-high crosses when we should be standing them up to the back post. But that being said, he didn't give up. He always tries. He's a very willing runner and participant. So, gotta give him 7. Gotta give him a 7. Stefan BAJCETIC. And again, I apologise if I've mispronounced the gentleman's name. This kid, 17 years of age, talent dripping from every pore. He is legit. All that remains to be seen is how good will he become, and will we get to see his career develop at Liverpool in the long term? I don't know the answer to either of those questions, but what I can tell you now is I've been around long enough to know a player when I see one, and this young man's a player. So it's great to see him getting more minutes. Will he develop into a genuine challenger for Fabinho in that position? I hope so. But right now, again, very impressed with BAJCETIC for me today in that midfield. I'm going to give him an 8. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. You've got to take into account that this was only it was his first full game in quite a while because of his injury. He had brief minutes beforehand. in the last game coming off the bench. But what I want to see in games like this from somebody like Oxlade-Chamberlain with his ability and his experience, and I want to see him be the standout player on the park to show the difference in levels between the younger players that are on his team and certainly the opposition who are from 2 leagues below. And bar one really, really amazing moment with that ball over the top to Elliott, which was sublime. Absolutely sublime. I found myself just again saying, how's he impacting the game? I want him to grab it by the scruff of the neck, and for whatever reason, he just doesn't seem to be able to do it at the minute. So for that, look, I'm going to give him a 7 because it wasn't awful from Oxlade-Chamberlain, and that ball alone deserves an extra point. Clark, young Bobby Clark, obviously brought in from Newcastle, and he's the player today that I'm struggling with. I always have one player when I watch a game that I really struggle to give a fair assessment of. So I'm going to ask you guys to help me out here in the comment section, because obviously I don't want to be overly critical to Bobby Clark, and I don't want to blow smoke up his backside if his performance wasn't as good as I may perceive it to be. So I'm going to go safe and give him a 6. But I do really want your help on this, and I do apologise. Just, he was a player that, for my own, I don't know, stupidity or looking at other players, I just didn't pay enough attention to give him a fair assessment. So, being honest about it, I'm going to give him a 6 and hope that you guys can help me out. Frauendorf, very impressed with this guy. Yes, the end product wasn't there, but the work rate, the tracking back, the helping out his defence, I was very, very pleased to see that. He's a talented young man. I don't know what his future holds. Again, it's the case with so many of these, but today I thought he was very good, so I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8 because I was very impressed with his work rate, and I know that will have impressed Jurgen Klopp as well. You might think that's a bit generous, but if I'm dishing out 6s and 7s to be fair and kind to the younger guys, I want to give out the higher scores to those who I actually think were the standout ones. And I do think, as much as the end product wasn't there from him tonight in the right side of attack, a lot of other stuff to admire about his performance. Fabio Carvalho, I just don't think it suits him to be a left winger or a left-sided attacker. I feel he's more of a central attacking midfielder or a left-sided midfielder who drifts infield. I think Klopp knows this as well, and that's probably where his future lies. Couldn't really get him involved in the game enough today. Second half was a bit better. He was obviously substituted later on in the game, so I would expect a bit better from Carvalho because I know what he's capable of. So I'm going to give him a 6 today. Bit harsh, but he's more experienced than a lot of the lads out there, and I wanted to see him show that he was a cut above, and I just don't think we've seen it today, but no doubt we will soon because he is a quality football player. Stewart, Leighton Stewart, probably had the best chance of the first half. To be fair to him, I think it may have taken a little bobble just as it was in front of him. And obviously he shot over the crossbar. But look, it's a difficult situation to be put into a game and be expected to be the goal scorer in the Liverpool team. So I wasn't that impressed with him. I think the game kind of passed him by a bit, but I don't want to be cruel either. So I'm going to give him a 6, and he'll know he should have scored. He doesn't need me to tell him that. Bobby Firmino came off the bench and hit probably one of the worst penalties I've viewed from a Liverpool player in a while. The run-up was shocking. The execution was shocking. And look, I've no problem with people missing penalties. What I do have a problem with is not hitting the target. If a goalkeeper saves your penalty or hits the post and comes back out, fair enough. But you got to at least put it on target. And that penalty was all kinds of shocking from Bobby today. When we came on, he had a couple of opportunities. One header forced the Derby County keeper into a save. But look, for that penalty alone, Bobby, you're getting a 5 because it was shocking, pal. I love him to bits. My favourite at the club. But that penalty was all kinds of bad. Harvey Elliott, the goal-scoring hero at the end with a very coolly, calmly taken penalty. But more importantly than any of that, well, certainly as importantly as all of that, I thought that he definitely made us quicken up and our play got better when he came off the bench. He showed that he is a level above. And I thought that we were certainly better after Klopp made them changes, and he was certainly one of the reasons why. So I thought it was a good cameo off the bench from Harvey Elliott today. Got to give him a nice solid 7. Darwin Núñez didn't really do anything. from the time he was brought on. The service was shocking to him. Sometimes you see him out on that left-hand side, and if Salah's on the pitch, I understand it. But today, I wanted him to just get on there, get into the penalty area and make a nuisance of himself. But also the service to him was shocking. So many balls that we had a chance to stand up to the far post and let him go and fight for it that were just zipped across the penalty area low and hard and weren't beating the first man. So, again, I got to give him a 6. Not because I think he did anything particularly bad, but, you know, he didn't get the service to do anything that can be a difference maker. But he did score his penalty. And it wasn't the best penalty you'll ever see taken, but it was far enough away from the keeper that it managed to find its way in. So, for that, very grateful. Ben Doak. I'm very excited to see this kid's future. You know, he has that petulance of youth that, I don't want to call it arrogance, but no fear. Gets the ball, runs at people, takes them on. Brought him in obviously from Celtic. He looks like a proper player, and yeah, very, very exciting talent. Can't wait to see his career develop. He's been doing bits at underage level since he's come in, scoring some big goals in the UEFA Youth League as well. So very, very optimistic about his potential. I give him a 7 because he got me up off my seat a couple of times with excitement, and yeah, I always like to see that. So look, that's us. That's my player ratings. Again, I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. It is over to you. For me, my man of the match was Kelleher, obviously because of the amazing saves. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Again, we'll see you guys soon. Appreciate the support. Much love. Bye-bye.